Statutes on Westlaw Precision for the Advanced Legal Research course at Boston College Law School. If you have the citation to a statute, the quickest way to get there on Westlaw is to type it in the Westlaw search bar. This can be done from any Westlaw screen since Westlaw recognizes citations and will pull up the document cited. This is 42 U.S.C. Section 9601, the first section of CERCLA, the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act. At the top of this code section, there are two places you can see how this section fits into the code. The first is above the effective date, where there are links to the larger units of the U.S. Code. There's a link to Title 42, Public Health and Welfare, which contains CERCLA, and also links to the chapter and subchapter that this section is in. The second is the Table of Contents link in the bar directly below the tabs. Looking at the code section in context lets you quickly find additional code sections you may need to read. For example, this section only contains definitions. Later sections set out rights and responsibilities under the Act. Because this is a long code section with many subsections, it also has a section outline link also in the bar directly below the tabs. The section outline helps provide an overview of what is included in this code section and also allows you to easily jump down to a relevant subsection you are interested in. Below the text of this code section, we see the credits, which provide references to the public laws that enacted and amended this code section. There's also a link down here to the Notes of Decisions tab. A statute means what it says, but more than that, it means what a court says it means. When you are asked if a particular statute applies in a particular situation, you aren't being asked to speculate. You're being asked to research the case law that interprets and applies the statute. The Notes of Decisions tab provides references to cases interpreting the code section you are viewing. These notes were chosen by editors to help researchers find relevant cases interpreting specific legal issues relating to the application of this statute. They are organized by topic and can be viewed in either procedural or alphabetical order. They can also be filtered by date or jurisdiction. The History tab provides references to editors' and revisers' notes, older versions of this section, and some legislative history materials. Because statutes change over time, it is important to be sure the statutory language interpreted by a case is the same language as in the statute being researched. Westlaw places yellow or red flags next to the section number of a code section when KeyCite identifies something that might have an effect on the validity of that statute. Proposed legislation that would amend this statute if enacted, or cases that could affect the validity of a statute also appear in the History tab under the heading Validity. The Citing References tab provides links to all the documents in Westlaw that cite to this statutory section, organized by content type. When a document is added to Westlaw, it is searched for citations. When the search program finds a statutory citation, it adds a reference to that new document in the Citing References section of the Westlaw display for that statute. Once you've selected the content type you are looking for, you can filter the results by a variety of factors or run a Boolean search within the results set. Cases citing this code section can be filtered by jurisdiction, court, date, whether or not the case is reported, and whether or not it was selected by West editors to be included in the Notes of Decisions associated with that statute in its annotated code. You may also select multiple filters to help you more quickly find those cases within your jurisdiction that seem most relevant to your research inquiry, including Notes of Decisions topics. Filtering your results by relevant criteria allows the computer search power to do the initial screening, so you have more time to read potentially relevant cases. The last tab, Context and Analysis, provides additional editorial references that were selected for inclusion in the print version of this code. If you are unsure of exactly how to format your statutory citation, you can click on a jurisdiction and then Statutes and Court Rules to get to a page which has an outline of the jurisdiction's statutory code on the left and a number of tools and resources on the right. You could also select Statutes and Court Rules under Content Types from the home page and then select the jurisdiction to get to this page. Click on Find Template to help you quickly get to a tricky citation. For example, California's Monarch, Butterfly, and Pollinator Rescue Program is in Section 1374 of the Fish and Game Code. Just type the section number in the correct box and click Go. This will take you directly to that code section. State codes on Westlaw have the same editorial features and characteristics as we just saw in the U.S. code. If you don't have a citation and need to search for a statute, a searchable, browsable index can often help you identify the relevant section or sections of the code. This is especially important that's in subjects that could be spread around the code. For example, here in the California codes that are dealing with abandonment, there are sections in the Public Utilities Code, the Water Code, the Business and Professions Code, the Civil Procedure Code, the Finance Code, the Labor Code, and the Health and Safety Code, just in the first few lines of this index entry. There's also a popular name table for each state code. Here in the California Statutes popular name table, we can see references to the Equity in Higher Education Act, the Escape Act, the Escheat Act, and the Essential Services Building Seismic Activity Act. If you need to run a full-text search to find a statute, it's a good idea to first select the code in which you want to search and then use the Advanced screen. For example, restricting terms to the statutory text field will avoid pulling up statutory sections that don't contain your language in the statutes itself, but only in the notes of decisions.